Millie. I want to do a sound check, which I didn't get to do earlier. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Choir? No? Now you can if I face you? Okay, well, good morning. I guess the Christmas season's upon us. You all look pretty tense. It's like, yeah? I mean, masses of people are getting thrown into a tizzy as they try to determine how they're going to get everything done, and there's questions that need to be answered. It's just, holy smokes, it's incredible what the holiday season does to us, to our minds. Our minds are just kind of skipping down the path of life, and all of a sudden the holidays come in, and it's just everything. It's like presents, just who do you buy for? Who do you not buy for? And what if you don't buy a present for somebody and they buy you a present, and then what do? It's just, I went to Target to Christmas shop. Anybody been there lately? The minute you walk in the door, you absolutely lose control of your life. You're like a fish in a school of fish, and wherever the crowds go, you just go with them. You have no choice as to what you want to do, and if you try to get out of that mass, it's just like clawing your way through people and trying to get to the sidelines, and then there's interaction with family members at the great holiday event, or the non-interaction. And I wonder, am I going to get disturbed and upset this year with the same person because of their action and words that I've gotten disturbed with for the last couple years? Or am I going to get disturbed in another way because somebody just doesn't show up and they don't call or make excuses? So many different dynamics to this holiday thing. It's almost impossible to watch your diet during the holiday season. Every place you go, there's food, and it's not necessarily low calorie or low fat or non-sugar food. It's everywhere. And every year at this time, I have to make a decision, and I'm sure many of you do too. Do I stand back and tough it out and just not indulge in all this food? Or do I just throw caution to the air and say I'm going to enjoy it, and come the first of the year, I'm going to start a whole new program with healthy food and diet and exercise? And I always start out trying to tough it out. I'm not going to engage in every place I go, every get-together that I'm a part of. There's always somebody there who is just squirming with delight as they eat bite after bite after bite of little delicacies, and they squeeze their eyes shut and they say, you just got to try this. It's like temptation at in its greatest point. So this conversation goes on in my head, and I come to the point, okay, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, start the first of the year, January 1st, it's a whole new program. I'm going to get on a health kick. So January 1st comes, I get up, and nobody starts a whole new program on January 1st. It's a holiday. It's meant to be celebrated. I'll start on January 2nd. Get up January 2nd, it's Wednesday. Who starts a new program in the middle of a week? I'll wait until next Monday. But then I get up Monday and I realize it's Katie Couric's birthday. I love that perky little gal. I've got to celebrate with her. And then Tuesday is Elvis Presley's birthday, and Hank always has an Elvis Presley party. And then Wednesday is Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge's birthday. She's royalty. How can you skip that? And then it's Wednesday again, the middle of the week. I'll start next Monday. It's the middle of the month. Who starts something in the middle of a month? And it just goes on and on and on. I mean, the holidays have such an impact on us. I don't think we even realize it. But there's all sorts of emotions. Good, there's ecstasy, and there's upheaval. But it's all a part of this huge dynamic that we call the holidays, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or holidays of other religions. The title for the talk today is The Incredible Lightness of Being. And the lightness refers to that essence of our being. If we go beyond the physical aspect of ourselves, we go beyond the skin, the bone, the tissues, and the cells and the molecules, and we get down to the atoms in our bodies, and inside the atoms are subatomic particles. But then there's that shift that takes place in our bodies, that shift that takes place from the physical, where the physical ceases to exist and we move into the spiritual. And it's light. Literally, it's light is the essence of our being. And lightness refers to those times when we are connected to that essence of our being. It is our spirit, it is our soul, it is our power, it is our energy. It's those times when we're connected to that. There is a lightness that prevails because the light extinguishes the darkness of negativity. There's never been a point of darkness that could withstand the light. The light always survives. The light is always the victor. So when I say the lightness of being, I mean it's those times when we're balanced, when we're centered, when we are connected with our inner being, we have confidence, we move forward, versus the unbearable weight of darkness. And that is those times when we're not connected to spirit, where we're weighed down with burdens. Our outlook on life becomes very dark and it becomes very negative. We become hopeless. We become desperate at times and we become fearful at times. And it's just like life loses all of its glitter and we're just trudging through life. Now the point is, at any given time, we can choose which direction we can go. We can move into the light. It's always there. It never disappears. It never dissipates. It never lessens itself. Or we can move into the darkness. That is the same for each and every one of us. We all have the light. Nobody has any more light here than anybody else. It never diminishes. Jesus says, you are the light of the world. And although he probably didn't mean that literally, that is literally true. We have the light within us. We can express that light. That light is good. And we can provide good to the world. So the question is, what determines what direction we go? We are constantly affected by life all around us. We can't get out of that. It's a lifelong sentence. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, the life around you has an effect on you of some sort. So what determines whether that effect moves us into the light or moves us into the darkness? And this takes us to the primary law of the universe. It was present day one. It is present right now. It dictates, it controls, it governs everything. And that's the law of cause and effect. Everything around us is an effect of some cause. And each and every one of us becomes a cause for some effect in the world. That's just the way life works. We're affected by the world, and we affect the world. So what happens with the law of cause and effect is something causes something to happen. There was a cause, we call the Big Bang, that had an effect which filled up the universe with physical substance. And then that physical substance began to congregate together, and it had an effect that created atoms, and so on and so forth. Here we sit. All the result of cause and effect. Now the point is, when we move into a situation or circumstance and it has a negative effect on us, we have a choice. I can reside in this effect, and that becomes my life, or I can become the cause that creates something to happen that moves me beyond this into something that is more of my liking. Does everybody understand that? Let me give you an example. Let's say that somebody invites you to a holiday party. It's going to be on Saturday afternoon, and they like you to bring the dessert. So you got your timing all down, say, well, it calls for a dozen eggs, it's a recipe. I don't have any, so I'll go to the store, I'll get a dozen eggs, and I'll also get some of the other things I need. If I get home by 2 o'clock, I can put it in the bake it, and it'll be all ready to go by 5. So you go to the grocery store, you get all the stuff you want, you're walking out with your little plastic or paper bag, and all of a sudden one of the handles breaks free. That side of the sack falls down, it rips, and all of your groceries go on the ground. You huddle up the groceries in your arms, you get in your car, you drive home, you start to cook up this delicacy that you're going to serve at the party. You open the egg carton, and 4 of the eggs are broke. The recipe calls for a dozen, you've got 8. So you got options. I can make it with 8, but what if it isn't any good? That would be embarrassing. The old favorite, call in sick. I just can't do it. I don't know what came over me. I am feeling sick. So you get out of the dirt altogether. And then you get angry and you get upset. Nothing's going right. Well, the truth of the matter is that the sack broke, and that was the cause. The effect is that the eggs broke, and that is the reality of the situation. There's no denying it. You can get mad, you can yell, you can scream, but the truth remains, the eggs are broken. And you can't put them back together again. Now, at that point in time, you can become a cause. This is the situation, this is my reality, this is the truth of the matter. So, let me cause something to happen that's more my liking, and that's get in the car and go back to the store, get a dozen eggs. Tell the guy to double wrap them in paper, hold them close to you, go home and make the recipe. You might be an hour late. But that is a very small situation. But it's true in every single part of your life. Anytime you find yourself upset, angry, disturbed, outraged, whatever it might be, it is always because you're fighting against something that is the truth of the matter. You're not willing to accept it. Do you understand what I mean? It is always that way. When we're upset, it's because something has happened that we don't like, and we're fighting against it even though it's happened. So the practice here is to get to the truth of the matter. The truth is always the truth. It is what it is. You get to the truth of the matter and accept it, because you can't change it. You can't reverse it. You accept it and then determine, what can I do to cause something to happen that will take me out of the effects of this thing and put me into a place where I'm on the path to something more of my choosing. The law of cause and effect comes into play in your life every single day. What we do is, let me own this. What I do quite often is I get so enmeshed in the effects of things that I don't like, the negativity of things that I don't like, and I battle with it and I grumble with it, and sometimes I carry it on for days, even though nothing changes, and I can't change anything. It's the truth of the matter. This is especially important with people. You know, with the holidays coming up, there's a lot of interaction with family and other people, and there's people in my family that I really, really wish were different than they are. I'd like them to be more like I want them to be. But the truth of the matter is they are who they are. And that's the truth of the matter. And no matter how much I wish, no matter how much I coax, no matter how much I coerce them to try to become what I want them to be, the truth of the matter is that they are who they are. They're living their life the way they're living their life. They have their lessons to learn. And I am not God. I am not the dictator that says you must be like this so that I can be happy with you. See, but that is part of living with the effect of somebody or something that I don't like, instead of being the cause which says, well, I've got options. I can separate myself from this person and not engage quite as actively. Or I can sit down one-on-one with this person and try to get to know them a little better and tell me what's going on. All sorts of different options, instead of just getting sunk down in that you need to change or I'm not going to like you stuff. We always have an option before us, and it's either to cause something good in our world or it is to take the effect that we have and adjust to it. Now, does everybody understand what I'm talking about here? The cause and effect thing. Because it's very important. It's your entire life. Something is always causing you to think or to feel a certain way, or to react in a certain way, or to do certain things. Something's always causing that. If the effects from the cause are uncomfortable, and you're thinking negativity and darkness and hate, you're pushing against life, you're resisting life, and life is what it is. It just gets down to accepting it. So many oftentimes I find myself in the doom and gloom room in my mind thinking that this just isn't right. This shouldn't be. especially with monumental things about our world, like with wars and battles and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it is what it is. And I can fight war all day long, and all that ends up in is me engaged in war with war. Or I can turn and I can cause something to happen that alleviates something. I can go out and create my own peace in the world, one by one. Instead of arguing with people or getting irritated with people, I can be a peacemaker and cause a sense of peace in my relationships with people. It's also interesting, this whole life thing. It's all so interesting. You know, it's been going on for 14 billion years. There have been billions and billions and billions of people that have lived life very much the same that you and I are living life, not so much in the physical comforts, but in the emotional range. I mean, for millions of years, people have been suffering. They've been sad. They have been angry. They have cried. They have laughed out. They've been joyful. It's an emotional field of life, this humanity. And we're right in the midst of it. Yet, things happen, and we think, my situation is worse than anybody's ever been in the world. And I can't deal with it, and it's not fair. This is life. And life is grand. As long as we can step back and realize at any given time, I'm in control there. Life doesn't affect me so much as I affect life. I determine what it does to me in any given moment. So as we move into meditation this morning, I want you to just think a little bit about something that you've lived with in your life that isn't comfortable. And we've all been there at some point in time. I know that everybody can relate to this. There have been times when I have been dealing with something that is difficult. It aggravates me. It irritates me. It just doesn't feel good. It's painful. I suffer under it. And then there comes a point where I say, that is it. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I take one step towards correcting it. And pretty soon that whole situation, which I might have carried around for months or even a year, it slowly disappears. It begins to dissipate because I've taken action. So think of something in your life. What are you going to do with it if it doesn't feel comfortable? If it creates an ill feeling instead of a sense of well-being, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to cause to happen that remedies that situation? The answer's inside you. We'll now move into meditation.